Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. The manhunt and new details about the suspect in that deadly shooting rampage in Montana. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith under federal investigation, and the roller coaster week for the U.S. economy, what it all means for consumers. First, the urgent statewide search. An Army veteran accused of killing 4 people at a Montana bar. Multiple law enforcement agencies searching by air and on the ground. Police calling the 45-year-old suspect, Michael Paul Brown, armed and dangerous. Authorities locating the 2007 white Ford pickup Brown was last seen in on Friday. The tiny community on edge as residents have been warned to stay on high alert. What we're learning tonight. Breaking news, former Special Counsel Jack Smith is now under a federal probe over his investigations into President Trump. The independent agency now looking into whether Smith violated a law that restricts federal employees from engaging in political activities. The new details just coming in. Also tonight, a wild week for the economy. Some major companies now planning to increase prices to offset tariff costs. What it could mean for back-to-school shoppers. This amid new signs of a weakening jobs market. Air quality alerts. The hazardous haze smothering parts of the Midwest, drifting down from Canadian wildfires, and the flash flooding risks in the southeast. Our weather team tracking it all. Ramped up security on the streets of Cincinnati after a video of a violent brawl sparks outrage. The new arrests and new images showing the moments before and after the chaos. Pope Leo thrilling hundreds of thousands of young people, what some are calling the Catholic Woodstock Festival in Rome. It's the American pontiff's first major encounter with the next generation of Catholics. The Field of Dreams at an iconic racetrack, MLB's Speedway Classic, makes history. The Pro Football Hall of Fame welcomes a new class. And the DNA surprise, the rescue dog, and the biological twist one family never could have imagined.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. Several developing stories as we come on tonight. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith under federal investigation, and the wild week for the U.S. economy, its potential impact on back-to-school shopping. But we begin with breaking news. The urgent manhunt for an Army veteran accused of killing 4 people at a Montana bar. Multiple law enforcement agencies are scouring the mountainous area near Anaconda by ground and air. Residents warned to stay inside and lock their doors. The community on edge. Authorities releasing this new image of 45-year-old Michael Brown fleeing the scene after the deadly shooting rampage on Friday morning. Police say he should be considered armed and dangerous. The bartender and 3 customers were killed. Tonight, what we're learning about the suspect and his military service. ABC's Melissa Adan leads us off.
Tonight, the manhunt in Montana. A town is on edge as law enforcement search for the suspect accused of shooting and killing 4 people. Authorities releasing this image showing the suspect, 45-year-old Michael Brown, fleeing the scene of the shooting. Multiple local, state, and federal agencies are on the hunt. Residents in Anaconda, a town of about 10,000, are being asked to stay vigilant, warning people to stay inside and lock their doors. The suspect allegedly lives next to the Owl Bar where the shooting occurred. Tonight, authorities also say Brown was an Iraq War veteran, joining the Army in 2001 and deploying to Iraq between 2004 and 2005 for just under a year. He later joined the Montana National Guard for almost 3 years until 2009.
He is believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. Residents in the area have been notified and encouraged to stay inside their homes on high alert.
Authorities say the shooting began at 10:30 Friday morning.
We have a visual of someone on Ash Street.
The sheriff's department says the bartender and 3 customers were killed in the shootings. The search tonight focusing on nearby Stumptown Road, roughly 6 miles from the scene of the crime. These helicopters seen circling Anaconda's Garrity Mountain yesterday evening. A Ford F-150 believed to belong to the suspect was also found abandoned.
We're doing everything we can to find and bring this perpetrator to justice.
With the FBI, ATF, and U.S. Marshals are assisting. This as the SWAT team cleared the suspect's home last night. And police are asking anyone who encounters Brown to call them as the people of Anaconda are trying to get their lives back to normal.
Melissa Adan for us. Thank you. Now to breaking news. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith is now under a federal probe over whether he violated a law that restricts partisan activities by federal employees. It comes after Republican Senator Tom Cotton requested an investigation into Smith's prosecution of President Trump. Here's ABC's Washington Bureau Managing Editor Katherine Faulders.
Tonight, Jack Smith, the former special counsel who investigated and prosecuted President Donald Trump before his return to office, now under investigation himself. The Office of Special Counsel announcing the investigation into Smith, which is not criminal in nature, but they're looking into whether he violated the Hatch Act, a law barring federal employees from using their office to engage in political activity. The agency investigating Smith is typically tasked with fielding whistleblower complaints, and it's unheard of for it to probe the actions of DOJ prosecutors. The announcement follows a referral from Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who 3 days ago encouraged a probe of Smith over his actions after charging then-candidate Trump with unlawfully possessing classified documents and for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Cotton writing Jack Smith's actions were, quote, nothing more than a tool for the Biden and Harris campaigns. Just days before President Trump's inauguration, then Special Counsel Jack Smith released a blistering report on Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, saying Trump would have likely been convicted on multiple felonies had voters not decided to send him back to the White House. Smith, who resigned 1 week before Trump took office, stood behind his decision to charge Trump, stating Trump engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the legitimate results of the election in order to retain power. Critics of the president say this is a targeted investigation.
The Office of Special Counsel is fast becoming a political tool rather than the objective, independent, investigative arm in the public interest.
President Trump has repeatedly made clear he wants government agencies to target his perceived political enemies.
This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill.
Earlier this year, Smith was the subject of a DOJ review, and so far, officials have provided no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. We've reached out to representatives for Jack Smith who have so far not responded, but it's important to point out this investigation is not criminal in nature. Unlike when Jack Smith was a prosecutor, the agency conducting this investigation won't have the ability to compel testimony or cooperation from Smith or any former government employees.
Katherine Faulders, thank you. Next tonight, the new price hikes amid the trade war. Some major companies now planning to increase prices to offset tariff costs. What it could mean for back-to-school shoppers and new signs of a weakening jobs market. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selina Wang.
Tonight, President Trump's escalating trade war rattling American businesses and consumers as back-to-school shopping kicks into high gear.
More Minecraft pencils.
Kristen Silberman, a teacher in North Carolina, says she's feeling the pinch.
I'm definitely seeing an increase in the prices. The tariffs are definitely a little scary, so I'm trying to get everything ahead of time.
And she's not alone. This comes days after the president announced sweeping new tariffs, raising import taxes on nearly 70 countries starting next week on August 7th. Every country will face tariffs of at least 10%, some as high as 40%. Mexico is getting a 90-day grace period, but will still face 25% tariffs. Talks with China continue as current tariffs remain at 30%. American companies are already paying the price. Ford estimates tariffs will cost them $2 billion this year. Procter & Gamble, which makes everything from toothpaste to detergent, says it's raising prices on 25% of its products.
Your average American household is going to spend thousands of dollars more between now and the end of the year to pay for Trump's tariffs.
This as new data shows a weakening economy. The president furious over the latest jobs report coming in far below expectations. The president suddenly firing the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who's in charge of releasing the new jobs numbers.
I fired her. And you know what? I did the right thing.
Trump claiming without evidence that the jobs data was, quote, rigged to make him look bad. The Bureau, a nonpartisan agency, also revised its previous numbers, lowering job creation in May and June by more than 250,000 jobs, something routinely done as more data becomes available. The former commissioner, appointed by Trump in his first term, says Trump's claims are baseless.
It's impossible for the commissioner to do that. The commissioner does not even see the numbers until the numbers are completely done and they're loaded and ready to be distributed.
And when I was talking to some senators on Capitol Hill, they will soon be heading back home, where many of them will face tough questions from their own constituents about the impact of President Trump's tariffs. Whit.
Selina Wang, thanks so much. We appreciate it. And tune into This Week tomorrow morning. George Stephanopoulos speaks with former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers to discuss President Trump's new tariff threats and the impact on the U.S. economy. Now to the raging Canadian wildfires fueling air quality concerns here in the U.S. The Chicago skyline here hardly visible on Thursday, but conditions have since improved. Meanwhile, the heat and dry air are fueling Southern California's Gifford fire, the flames scorching more than 23,000 acres. Let's get right to meteorologist Dani Beckstrom from our New York station WABC. And Dani, when will this smoke clear out?
Well, the smoky haze is starting to thin out in the Midwest, Whit, but the air quality concerns continue tonight across several states, including cities like Minneapolis and Chicago. A shift in the wind now pushing that smoke from upstate New York into northern New England Sunday, with new air quality alerts issued there for sensitive groups. To the south now, a new round of storms bringing an elevated risk for flash flooding, with rainfall rates 1 to 2 inches per hour from southern Alabama to the Georgia coast. While in the west, thunderstorms bring the threat for lightning, but not much rain, triggering red flag warnings in Oregon and Idaho, with dry and windy conditions contributing to critical fire danger in Utah and Colorado. But even where there aren't active alerts, hot, dry, windy weather across the region is going to keep conditions primed for fire spread into the work week. Whit?
All right, we'll stay on top of it. Dani Beckstrom, thanks so much. Now to the increased security in Cincinnati after a violent brawl sparked national outrage. The new video coming in tonight that shows the moments before and after the chaos. And we want to warn you, the images are disturbing. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Increased patrols and armed units on the streets of Cincinnati tonight, days after this now viral chaotic brawl sparked national outrage.
We have to make the city safer right now.
Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Purival says he's working with the Ohio governor to deploy additional resources, including SWAT, to urgently fix what he says is a false perception of a violent and dangerous city. His comments come after this bloody melee unfolding on the streets of downtown Cincinnati last Saturday. And while it's unclear who or what started this brawl, new video now being investigated by police showed the moments just before and after things got ugly. From this angle, a man seen on the ground who can be heard shouting a racial slur.
What we all witnessed in the viral video released early Saturday morning was not only disturbing, it was outright cruel.
Other videos capturing similar violence. In one, a woman collapses, bloodied and bruised. Police saying only one person called 911. In all, 6 people injured, 6 now charged, 4 arrested by police. As tensions flare tonight, Cincinnati's mayor calling for unity.
The racial dynamics of this fight are unavoidable, and some have cynically used the opportunity to try and divide us along racial lines. That is a choice we must firmly reject.
And while overall violent crime in Cincinnati is down about 8% compared to last year, aggravated assaults are up slightly. Tonight, though, police are still looking for 2 more suspects related to last weekend's brawl. Whit?
Morgan Norwood, thank you. Overseas now to the desperation and starvation in Gaza as tens of thousands protest in the streets of Tel Aviv, calling for the release of the remaining hostages. This just hours after Special U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff met with families. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports from Israel.
Bring them home! Tonight, mass demonstrations in Tel Aviv as U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff meets with families of those still being held by Hamas. As the hunger crisis in the Gaza Strip grows and access to food and medicine remains difficult, in Tel Aviv, tens of thousands coming out to press their government to end the war and bring the hostages home, including Eli David, his brother Evyatar, among others, being held in Gaza.
They are on the absolute brink of death. In their current unimaginable condition, they may have only days left to live.
Hamas releasing this harrowing video of Evyatar looking painfully emaciated, his family agreeing for us to show it. Tens of thousands of Palestinians now desperate for food and other supplies. Another 7 people died of malnutrition in the last day, according to the Hamas-run Ministry of Health, bringing the total to at least 169, including 93 children. Some hospitals across the Strip now operating at close to 300% capacity. Witkoff's expected to leave the Middle East soon and head to Russia, where he faces another immense challenge, brokering an end to Russia's war in Ukraine before Trump's sanctions deadline next week. On Thursday, Russian strikes in Ukraine's capital, killing 31, including 5 children, according to President Zelensky. Ukraine today hitting several targets in Russia, including oil refineries.
With President Trump also addressing the repositioning of 2 nuclear submarines after apparent threats by a leading Russian politician and Kremlin ally, saying he wants to be sure that it is just words and not a threat. Whit?
Ian Panel, thank you. We head to Rome now, and Pope Leo thrilling hundreds of thousands of young people at what some are calling the Catholic Woodstock. Let's bring in ABC's Marcus Moore. And Marcus, another first for Pope Leo.
Well, that's right. Hundreds of thousands of young people attending this year's Youth Jubilee. And of course, they are seen as the future of the Catholic Church. And the Vatican is taking steps to reach and appeal to young people around the world. And kids from nearly 150 countries are represented, including many from across the United States. And we have seen pictures of the expansive grounds and the crowds of people camped out at Tor Vergata Field outside Rome. Pope Leo delivering a message of hope to the young people in the crowd. And he urged the teens to make choices to do good. And he said, quote, friendship can really change the world. Friendship is a path to peace. The Jubilee continues through tomorrow with a special mass at Tor Vergata Field.
Marcus Moore, thank you. Back here in the U.S., Major League Baseball taking over NASCAR's largest venue. Tennessee's Bristol Motor Speedway reconfigured to host the Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds. The club's playing in the first Speedway Classic. The field built on the track's infield. Pit walls and gas pumps were removed for the game. More than 85,000 tickets sold for MLB's first game in Tennessee. Pretty cool. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. The potentially dangerous find authorities say they made during an arrest in California. And football welcomes its newest Hall of Famers in Canton, Ohio. Next tonight, a disturbing discovery authorities say they made during the arrest of a man on terror-related charges. Federal prosecutors in Los Angeles accusing Mark Lorenzo Villanueva of sending dozens of payments to ISIS. Authorities releasing pictures of what appears to be a homemade bomb they say was in his house when he was captured yesterday. Villanueva ordered held without bond. When we come back, 4 new players enter the Pro Football Hall of Fame. To the Index now, Pro Football's Hall of Fame officially welcoming 4 new members today. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, no relation, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp enshrined in Canton, Ohio this afternoon. Gates, the first player inducted who never played college football. Sharp joining brother Shannon in the hall, the first siblings to reach Canton. Still ahead, the rescue dog and the incredible DNA twist. Finally tonight, the rescue dog and the DNA surprise.
Rufus.
This adorable shelter dog named Rufus had been part of the Rife family for 9 years.
Are you waiting for some breakfast?
He was there when Jillian and Matthew got married, the first one to greet their children, Ben and Maya, when they were born. And Rufus had some unusual abilities. He could talk.
I love you.
So when Rufus passed away suddenly in April, the family was heartbroken, especially the children. To ease their grief, they began looking at dog photos online when Maya found this image from a local senior dog shelter called Muttville.
Wow, this dog really looks like Rufus, Mom. Look at this dog. Look at this dog.
4 days later, the lookalike was adopted and home with the family, who renamed him Ziggy. They quickly noticed the similarities between Ziggy and Rufus were more than just physical.
My kids are like, oh my gosh. So they both do this. They both talk.
So they got Ziggy a DNA test. The results, stunning. Not only were Ziggy and Rufus related, Ziggy is Rufus's biological father.
It's a 1 in a million's chance of this.
Despite nearly impossible odds, somehow both father and son found their way to this loving family. Fate at its finest.
It's just the most amazing gift. I just have to believe that he ended up in our path for a reason. And I'm just glad that he gets to spend the rest of his time with us.
It was meant to be. What a story. Thanks for watching tonight. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now,
ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.